So yeah, welcome everybody. This is another Klaus product update, the first of 2022. And today we're going to focus on some coaching features, some that have been around a little while, some which are brand new. And to help me to do that today, we have Valentina, who is the newly crowned head of support quality and remote at Klaus. So she's changed her role. And we also have Martin, our CEO, who will give us a quick intro in a second. Valentina, do you want to talk a little bit about your new role and how you might be able to help people?
So yeah, as head of support quality and head of remote, I now have the official mandate to talk about quality support as long as I want with whomever I want to, and mix in help about remote. So specifically, if your support team is remote, continues to be remote, or you want to do coaching sessions remote, I can probably help you not only with the support quality part, but also with the how to manage that part. And yeah, I'm super excited about this change because I love to speak to you people and learn about what your challenges are and help you a little bit with the things that I have lived through. So yeah.
Yeah,
you
and
will hear more from me.
For those of you that don't know, then Valentina was our very first customer. So Klaus wouldn't exist without her help. And for the longest time now, she was also running product. And now she's transitioning into this new role, hence the tiara, obviously.
When I joined Klaus, one of our, what do you call it, values that was explained to me, it was called "Do It for Valentina," because she was a customer then. And I liked that personal approach. And then she joined us.
I have a screenshot of that. I'm never going to change it in my brain.
But yeah, a few welcoming words from me as well. So today, as mentioned, we're focused on the coaching features, and that is an umbrella term for a few different things, and there will be more in the future. But it's by far the most popular category of feature requests over the past few years, and now we can firmly say that we have like really good offering to show in that section of Klaus as well. And some of it has been around for a little bit longer, like the pins feature. More recently, we have introduced quizzes, which is pretty self-explanatory, I guess. That's a simple but powerful feature that lets you do spot checks for your agents and also a little bit gamified with the leaderboard. And maybe most importantly, we have also launched something called coaching sessions. So that's basically to do the actual coaching sessions, log what was talked about, and all of those things are integrated together. So while pins alone was a useful feature, now I would say the value of it has been dramatically increased because you can use the pins feature in conjunction with coaching sessions. So all of those things that you pin, so the pins feature basically lets you, let's say, bookmark things that you see inside Klaus, whether it's data or specific cases or a comment, and then lets you compile it together under the coaching session. So all those things combined gives you a really good way to give more broad feedback to your agents, as opposed to just, hey, you said this thing in this specific comment. So coaching on different skills that are broader than one case. So without further ado, I will give it over to Chris and Valentina, and they will show you what it's all about.
All right, thank you very much. I will share my screen and we'll have a look. This is always the nerve-wracking part. Okay, Valentina, can you see my screen?
Yes, it worked. Good.
Okay, good. All right, so the first thing I'll show you is pins. Pins has been around for a little while, but as Martin said, it ties in very nicely with quizzes and sessions. So this is the first thing we'll show you, and the pins is basically a way to add coaching notes. They can be notes for yourself, they can be notes for somebody else, they can be notes for the agent. And the powerful thing about this is that you are able to choose Whereas before you had to write everything inside of this comments box of the review, and that meant that the agent could see it. But with a pin, you can choose who sees it. So if I'm inside of a conversation and I want to pin something for later, or I want to share something with someone, I can pin this conversation, and I can pin it to Winston, who is the agent, the reviewee here, and I could write, for example, at Martin, who is Winston's team lead. I've noticed that Winston is having issues with this billing, specific billing question. Let's talk about that. Let's book a training, etc. So you can write that note just to Martin, so it's just shared between you two. Or you could also tag the agent if you wanted to make it visible to them. You can keep tagging to decide who it should be shared with. So you can pin this. You can also do the same inside of the dashboard. So if you're looking at a team's performance, an agent's performance, so for example, the month of January has just ended, you might want to pin the January dashboard so that in June or January next year, you can look back to the dashboard of January 2022. So you could also add notes here about your observations, etc., and that is pinned for later, or you could share it with other people. You could also look at one agent's performance, either overall, or you can pin a specific table. So if you wanted to look at an agent's performance over time, you could pin this specific table for this agent. And everything that you pin and everything that is shared with you, every pin that's shared with you, goes into this pins menu, which is under this new coaching section, which is under this little academic hat or a mortarboard. I just learned that that's how it's called in English. You can go here to see all of the coaching session features, and the pins menu is the first one here. And here you can see everything that you've added or everything that's been shared with you. You can search by users, by keywords. You can create new pins directly from here or choose how the pins are sorted. And as you can see, if you click on a pin, you can see that 8 months ago I pinned this. So quite a while ago. I could go here and it takes me to exactly where in the app I made the pin, which is this dashboard from May the 1st to May 31st, 2021.
Something that might be interesting as you think about coaching is you can share the pins with somebody, but you don't have to. You can also just write the pins just for yourself. For example, if you're keeping track of something specific for someone, thinking about the next performance review, like you know that now is not the moment to actually go deeper into this, but you will want to remember that. So you pin it for that person, and then 4 months from now, you will find it much easier than if you have to wade through all the data that you have amassed over time.
Mm-hmm. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Great. All right, so that's pins. The second one on the list is quizzes, which is relatively new. I think it's been around for a few weeks now. So if you are looking through the data, you're looking at the dashboard for the team or for an agent, you're looking at the trends, you might see that the team or a specific part of your team is struggling in a specific area. For example, billing, or in this case, in this example, cats. So if you notice that your team don't know a lot about cats, you might want to create a quiz to help them brush up on their knowledge. So I created this quiz for our team a few days ago. So you can create a quiz and you can add the questions that you want. You can add a description, but you can add different questions that have multiple answers that your team can choose from. And you can also see a preview of that quiz as well. But I made this one earlier. So if you create the quiz and then you send that out to the agents who you've noticed have a low score in that specific area, you can go into the quiz to see their responses. So you can see an overview. So how many responses did the quiz get? What was the average score? And what did people answer? So you can see 2 people answered yes, 2 people answered sometimes, which was wrong. You can go through each question like this. You can also then look at the individual agent performance. Skip over to individual. Let's look at Diana's performance in this quiz. Diana scored 60%. She got this one wrong. She didn't realize that cats do like tacos. She got this one right. She understood how to say cat in Portuguese. She knows she got this one wrong. So you can go through the answers, and then in a second, Valentina is going to show you how you can follow up on quizzes. And basically, this is it. You can create as many quizzes as you want. You also have a leaderboard here, so you can do some kind of gamification here. You can see who is the biggest participant, who's participated in the most quizzes, who has scored the most. So here you can see that Diana is in first place. So I've now discussed pins. I've discussed quizzes, these 2 things which can help your team to plug the gaps in knowledge that you might have. But the next feature on the list is the sessions, which ties all of this together. And Valentina is going to take you through.
Yeah, there we go. So sessions, this is basically your coaching sessions. It's the one-on-ones that either a reviewer and an agent, or the team lead and the agent, or the whoever does the coaching in the company and helps support reps to level up, they can use these sessions. A session is always private between the support rep, the agent, and the person who's doing the coaching session. So these are currently the only two people who are going to have access to this session. So maybe we create a new session. So just so we see how it looks like. The person who, don't click away from this just yet. The person who creates the session is a coach, because they have the lead role on this one. And they can then schedule a private session. This session, where at the academic head, the agent will then get, like, here is a new session. They will get information there. And you can then access this directly. This is interesting because it means you can also, if you're having a one-on-one already scheduled, let's say every 2 weeks or every month or so, you can create this session as you are in the one-on-one, and then just tell the other person to also access their own dashboard so that they can see action items. And now, yeah, please create one. There we go.
It can be for me.
It doesn't matter for whom.
Okay.
So this is how it looks like. You can, of course, change the name, because session created on date can be quite chaotic after a time. So maybe change it to the date that the session will take place. So you can change the date, you can schedule it if you want, and then you have talking points and notes. Only the coach or the lead or whoever is taking charge of this can add talking points. So performance review or issues with billing. Yeah. And then the next section here, you have pins, and for that we're going to go into the right sidebar. You'll see metrics in the right sidebar. One is the IQS, that's the internal reviews, and the CSAT if your CSAT is connected, or if you're using the Klaus CSAT solution. Then you have very granular all the categories and how this person has been rated on these categories, and then at the end the quiz results. These are the metrics that basically come from Klaus. Then you have feedback. If you click on feedback, yeah, feedback are all the comments that were left on ticket for this person. And this is a little bit on purpose that you can of course click through to the ticket, but if your reviewers are good, they should have left comments that allow to understand what the problem or what the praise is without having to go through the entire ticket. So you should be able to get the gist of what's going on just looking at the feedback. And then you have pins. That's what we just talked about at the beginning of this. If there were pins, I think maybe, so if you have pins, they show up here and you can attach them to a different session. So a coaching session doesn't automatically, there you go, you can attach this pin to a session that was already created, and that way it will live within that
This
session.
may be a good moment to ask Tim's question from before about pins. Can agents as well as managers pin dashboards or conversations?
Chris, do you remember?
I think it works. We need to clear that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get back to you on that. That was Tim, right?
Tim, yep.
Yep. I'll come back to you on that, Tim. Just need to double check.
To make sure we're not sharing anything wrong here. So that way you can put pins to coaching sessions. This is interesting because if you know that you're 4 months down the line, you're going to have a performance review, you can already create that session and you can already put the pins there so that you then, when the performance review comes around, you have everything in one place. And then you have action items. Like both the coachee as well as the coach can add action items, and the coachee is the one who can check them off. And the action items will actually show up in your sidebar as what you need to do. The coachee cannot delete action items. They can only check off action items. So once, if you decide that somebody doesn't have to do something, the coach would have to go back and delete that. And then we have private notes. So everything that we've seen until now is visible for both. However, the private notes, these are only for the person that is writing them, which means the coach sees their own private notes and the agent sees their own private notes. Since the agent cannot add talking points, what usually happens is that agents put the talking points into the private notes and then bring them up. And the private notes are also interesting from a coach perspective. If you pick up on something that you don't necessarily want to have in your notes with the agent, but you do want to remember to bring that up at a later stage again, or maybe just investigate or follow up on that. Yeah, and then the idea is that you create the session either before the coaching session or during the coaching session together with the coachee. And that way you have then a list of all the coaching sessions that you have had in the past. So you can minimize if you click on any of the sessions there, you have them minimized. You have like a list of all the coaching sessions that you had with that person.
Do we want to knock off a few more questions from the chat?
Yes, exactly.
So first one, how do agents get notified about a new quiz?
Currently, about a new quiz, because quizzes are accessible to everyone, we currently don't notify, but instead the manager or whoever created the quiz takes the URL and sends it to whomever needs to do that quiz.
Yeah, but obviously, then the people that have participated, they will appear there in the leaderboard,
exactly.
And you can like check that way. The first iteration of the quizzes was supposed to be like that simple on purpose, so that's basically why we don't have the open answers, so that you have like easily comparable results as well. But now it's been out for a few months, I guess, and lots of feedback is rolling in, and there will definitely be a next iteration of that as well.
And that iteration will include assigning quizzes to people to do. Like that is a very frequent request.
So I guess that's also the same answer to Daniela. Can you share the quizzes with only some agents, or is it for everyone? So like you can choose to share it, but it will be accessible, I think, across the workspace or the entire
Correct.
workspace.
No,
yeah,
across the workspace.
Yeah. Then another question from Barbara. In terms of reporting, can we easily get this data based on completed coaching sessions? So it's a question about sessions. What was the number of reviews, or I guess sessions per site as a percentage of total tickets? Not sure what is meant here. Okay. So the number of agents coached as percentage of total agents. I guess we don't have the dashboard yet, right?
Exactly. Currently, there is no dashboard yet.
That is in the works.
One of the reasons is also that we now basically want to see how people use this, because then we can create a dashboard that's actually meaningful for everyone instead of just inventing it ourselves.
Then next one by Julia. Can admins have access to the information in the sessions which were made by somebody else?
Not yet. For now, sessions are private between the person who coaches and the coachee.
Yeah.
We already have a couple of use cases where it might make sense to basically assign a coaching string to someone else. Let's say a lead goes on a sabbatical or leaves the company, etc., and you don't want that information to get lost. In that case, there will be a solution at some point how you can basically give this over to the next person who's going to work with this agent.
Yeah, and then another one by Daniela. Can an agent request the coaching session? So probably not yet.
Tag. You can add a tag request session that people can add to their reviews when they receive them, and then go from there.
Yep, that's a good workaround.
I think that's it for the questions right now. I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah. think we've covered them all. I will follow up. Everybody who signed up for this event, I will follow up with some articles about each feature. If you have any questions, please just respond to me there. I'll also add my calendar link there. So if you want to book a call to discuss any of this stuff or anything else which is unrelated, then please go ahead and choose a time.
Actually, I have a little TED Talk to use the sessions, especially if your team is remote. See if you can, and of course, it would be great if you use sessions. If you don't, that's fine, but talk to your agents, like especially if they're remote. Make sure that you have one-on-ones regular with everybody in your team, at least once a month, maybe bi-weekly, maybe even weekly, to figure out what's going on in everybody's life. Because if you move to remote because of the pandemic, like it's still chaos out there, and one-on-ones are a great way to basically keep in touch with your agents and figure out what's going on and how you can best help them, coaching in or excluded. So if you are only doing the biannual performance reviews, now is a good time to up that cadence a little bit.
Also got an answer for Tim from our star customer support agent, Diana, 100%. She said, true story, by the way. And you can, as an agent, also pin items. She just tested it out.
Okay, good. Okay, any other questions? Please post them now. As I said, you will have the chance to book a call after. You'll have a chance to ask questions by email as well. Just a little teaser, the next thing that we will release will be CSAT dashboard. Is that right? CSAT dashboard and CSAT surveys. So you can use CSAT surveys, or you'll be able to look at an analysis of the surveys you're using from Zendesk or Intercom or whatever.
Chris, being all modest, I think that's actually a huge deal. So we're going to be able to overlay your CSAT data with the internal review stats and look at that in the same view. And CSAT surveys, which you will be also able to launch from within Klaus, because I think everybody knows that the existing solutions aren't necessarily very customizable. Hopefully, we're going to be able to surprise everybody by how good they are, but that's still a little bit. The CSAT dashboard is coming first, and that's almost nearly finished.
Yep, we're using it ourselves. It's quite exciting. We'll hopefully we will do the next products update webinar, which will be the beginning of March, 4 weeks from now. We'll hopefully be able to showcase that, and you'll already be able to test it out. All right, I think that's it then. It's pretty quick, but yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Especially for these ones, like if you have ideas, feature requests after you go and test these out, like feel free to send that feedback into Intercom, for example, like to our customer support channel. Like we're like actually like obsessively looking for that right now.
Yep. All right. See you later. Bye, everyone. Have a nice evening. Nice afternoon.
Bye.
Ciao.